Have you ever dropped an acoustic guitar into a rock chorus and it just disappeared? It's thin, spiky and all over the place. Let me show you how to turn this into this.
Verloren und gefunden, zwei Seiten.
Let's have a quick listen at this acoustic guitar solo for a second. So, although it sounds nice and is nicely played, it is pretty spiky, it lacks weight, and especially if I show you how it sounds in the chorus, you can't hear it at all anymore. The problem is it is lacking weight, it is lacking density, and it's just too dynamic. So we need to tame it, beef it up, and make it more compact. And I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. The first tool I want to use is something to tame the attacks a little bit. You could use something like a Transient Designer by SPL or something like Split EQ by Eventide. I chose to use Spiff by Oak Sound, and I use it to tame the attack in the high end a tiny little bit. As you can hear, when I bypass it, you get all the spiky attacks, and when it's engaged, it's just mellowing out the high end a little bit and making it less spiky. As a second plugin, I use also again a plugin from Oak Sound called Soothe, and I also use it to reduce some high end in a dynamic way. I don't want to EQ all the high end out right away, but rather tame it dynamically. Let's see what it does. Similar as with Spiff, we are reducing a little bit the spikiness of the guitar by just taming the high end dynamically. Okay, next up we have an EQ, where I want to boost a little bit the fundamental range of the guitar, remove some honkiness and a little resonance. Let's see what it does. As you probably could hear when I bypass the EQ, it's getting a little bit wah wah wah, a little honky, and is lacking a little bit of weight. And that's what we fixed with this EQ. Next, a little bit of saturation. Saturation is great to make a signal more compact, give it more density, add some harmonics, and just helps the guitar to cut through the mix better. As you can hear, with the saturation engaged, we get even more weight and tame the spikiness of the guitar even a little bit more. Okay, now we beefed up the low end, but still need to control it a little bit so that it's not all over the place. Let's do some dynamic EQing with Soothe. In this instance of Soothe, I let it control the low end dynamically only. I know the gain reduction is looking pretty dramatic here, but it doesn't feel so dramatic. It's just tightening up the low end so that we can have thick acoustic guitar without it jumping around in the low end and messing with the bass. Next up, a little bit more EQing. First, I want to clean up the low end a little bit because using saturation often introduces low end distortion and a little bit of rumble that we want to get rid of. And as you can see, I still cut off more of the high end because I want the guitar to be more mid-focused and still less spiky. If we have too much of this brilliant high end in the acoustic guitar in that context, it can just mess with the cymbals and take away from their clarity. That's why I chose to cut off quite a chunk of high end. And on top we are adding a tiny little bit of fundamental range and remove a little bit of harshness in the middle. Let's listen to it one more time. This way it just sounds fuller and will sit nicely in the mix without jumping out in the high end. And finally, let's apply some limiting to catch a couple peaks and give the guitar some loudness. Alright, let's do a quick before and after. Yeah, now the guitar is much beefier and it will have much more weight in the mix. Let's listen again to this guitar in context, one time with all the processing and one time without.
Du und ich als Undercover-Helden, verloren und gefunden, zwei Seiten, zwei Welten.
As you can hear, without the processing, the guitar somewhat gets lost. You can hear some spikes, but it's lacking all the weight that we get with the processing. And the way we have it now, it's really adding some mid-range presence and weight to the whole mix. Okay, a quick recap what we did to these guitars. We tamed the transients, we removed some attack, removed some spikiness, we added some weight by adding a little bit of fundamental range and EQ'd out even more high end to make space for the cymbals. We added some saturation for more density and weight, and finally applied some limiting to get a really nice loudness. Okay, I hope this was helpful for you. If you still struggle with your guitar or have any cool ideas that you want to share with other viewers, drop me a comment down below. And if you like this kind of video and want more no bullshit real life mixing techniques, then subscribe to this channel and see you next time. Bye bye!